With Anno 117, Pax Romana being released later this year, the developers over at Ubisoft have been so generous to give me an early access playthrough of the game. I'll be having an entire video about that experience with my own in-game footage on May 19th. The game's final release date hasn't been announced yet, just that it'll be later in 2025. But that should give us plenty of time to dive into this fantastic game that's 1 part city builder, 1 part strategic simulator, and 1 part RTS War game. Anno 1800. Hello, nerds, and welcome back to our Anno 1800 beautiful spawn here on a wonderful starting island. Now, if you missed part 1, I have a link for it right here and in the description if you would like to start from the beginning. Otherwise, we'll get you caught up. We have the starting with a beautiful farmer and worker town here, complete with a little bit of a market square with all of the goods that you'll need to be able to have a fantastic time. Our urban population is broken into a high-density block system here, but each of these houses do have a little bit of a shared greenery area in the middle to try to balance efficient housing, but also having some greenery. We have an avenue of jobs here, as well as going to be a parkway that leads all the way up to the market. We even have this neat pre-industrial job corridor that goes up and down the island this way. Everything from clothing to bricks, and even a cliffside mill with a bunch of wheat and this gorgeous potato field. And there's a bunch of plans that I have for today that includes expanding our town outwards over to the west here, building our urban areas all the way up to this mountain chain. There's going to be a freaking fantastic central isle that leads all the way up through the center of the island, all the way over to this other side of the coast, where there's going to be another offshoot here where we have an entire industrial sector, which will be kind of the focus of today's episode as well. My goal today is to get fully established on this island to be a powerhouse of a productive population, including everything from talking about the more complicated production chains, like getting the most out of your ironworks and steel beams, soap industries, and getting the last of the happiness buildings between the police station and the school. We might even get into hops and beer, but that will probably be for next episode. Our little island of Bugsblee will be reserved for that. Now, I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna name this island Ulitopia, as of course our top comment in the previous episode was for our friend Uli. Now, while we're here, I'm just gonna make sure that this island has everything that they need. And it looks like I completely forgot to add a little bit of a fishing supply here. Once we get a little bit of fish here, we'll have pretty much everything that this island will need. I'll even upgrade a couple of extra houses just to make sure that they have everything. The labor pool here, just in terms of getting the lumber online and fish, will only be about 55 jobs or 55 workers that we need on this island. Now, I want to keep the population of this island below 100. Once you get to 100 population, your workers will start needing work clothes and also the happiness concern of schnapps. And because this island does not have potato fertility, it will have to be imported. So I don't want to touch any of that. We'll just keep this island as is. As the fish comes in, we'll get a couple of extra population, because that shows what these things will actually do for you. Any of the needs that you satisfy will add more population as well as more gold to each house. You can see each of these houses right now only has 5 out of 13 farmers that can fit. But once we get the fishing supplies online, we'll get an additional 3 farmers and additional 1 gold per farmer. That'll let this little island make a little bit of passive income as we're getting set up. And I'll even go ahead and set our island to start selling some of their excess resources, just so that we can again, continue to make a little bit of passive income while we're focusing on our main island. Now let's set these all to 65. Oops. Again, this island will have its own episode. So if you want to be able to see that, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. This beer island is going to be so much fun. Speaking of different things for us to satisfy, I'll go ahead and make sure that the island of Nerdy Town actually does have everything they need. So we'll sort by consumption and production, and you'll see our demand for work clothes and fish, and even our schnapps have all exceeded the supply, so we'll have to fix all of these really quickly. The easiest one to do here will be the fish supply, of course, so I'm just go ahead and drop in another fishery, and that will make sure that we have enough production up to 6 tons. Thanks for those that commented and let me know what these numbers actually represent. 6 tons of fish being produced every in-game minute compared to the 5-ton demand. Next, we can look at the work clothes. I want to keep my work clothes all in the same general area. We might be able to get a specialist later on in a combination with things like these trade unions to be able to boost all of our clothing production together. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and blueprint that in, meaning I'll just move my meat market just across the road here, giving us a little bit of room for this trade union. And I can copy and paste this entire setup, but you'll see it doesn't really fit inside of this central aisle here. But what will fit here later on will be things like our soap production. So I'll reserve this aisle for that little bit of industry. That actually will go well with the brick factories as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and start a new day here just so I can see what we're doing. I think the easiest way for me to address our concerns will be moving our lumber mill. This will go ahead and we'll put this further out in the peninsula, somewhere we'll have plenty of room to grow more trees and just build a road out towards it. We could even move the sawmill just so that the lumber mill could deliver to the sawmill. Sawmill can still deliver to the warehouse, and then we'll be a-okay. This will give us a little bit of room so that we can clear out that road, copy and paste our entire clothing workforce here, place it right on in, and get started. That'll add a little bit of extra production here within radius of our trade union, but you'll see that will increase the production of work clothes, following a full potential of 6 tons. We'll probably have to add even more of these here soon, and just so that I don't have to worry about it, I'm just going to go ahead and do this now and copy and paste this entire thing, add it right nearby. Seems that the oil field's actually a little bit in the way, so what I'll do is I'll move my sheep, and this actually will free up a little bit of extra space for us, for me to place in everything that we'll need here. And there we are. We have one big aisle where all the sheep can graze together. Fantastic. And then all of these will be delivering up to this warehouse. We'll probably have to upgrade this warehouse at some point, but we'll get to that when we need it to. And then lastly, let's talk about our schnapps. I want to start producing actually a lot of potatoes on this island. Not only will we have to produce potatoes for this island, I'm going to have to produce enough schnapps to be able to import over to our island of Utopia eventually. And we could even try to sell some over to Eli Bleakworth at some point. You'll see he'll buy pretty much any good that we try to sell him, but he'll buy potatoes and especially soap at a huge premium, which will be fantastic for us later down the road. That being said, I will want to expand and have a relatively permanent potato supply, just really going hard for us up here. So I'm going to expand the potato fields out this direction, and I think the easiest way to have the potatoes really expand and just take over this entire gorge here will be by expanding a road out this way and having more potato fields up on this like rocky cliffside. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna even keep this in blueprint mode as well. I'll even delete some of these trees so I can see what we're doing up this way. Go up to schnapps, potato field, and I think we'll set this right along this area. We'll, of course, do our cute little thing where we add the farmers that live right next to that potato field. Even rotate this along. There we are. Add a couple of extra roads in, as well as the fields themselves. And there we are. And also, I think we're going to just go ahead and we're going to immediately just overproduce some of these potatoes fields. As I said, we're going to need a lot of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and immediately place down another field here. This, of course, will expand, combine our fields together. Something along the lines of this. Maybe we'll even stretch this down this way just to make this feel nice and continuous. Something a little along the lines of this. Now, that's actually even out of the radius of our lumber mill, which is perfect for us. And we'll just get this upgraded right away. This will immediately start increasing our potato production, which will be fantastic for us, allowing us to just overproduce potatoes by quite a lot. We'll even just scoot that little thing right here. And because these two houses are right next to each other, I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick little bit of decorating and kind of create a little bit of a separation between these houses. Complete with a couple of bushes here and then a little bit of extra grass, just to make this kind of a nice, pretty little potato field area. Now, hopefully that can actually be delivered. It looks like this is out of the radius of a warehouse. I'm just going to go ahead and put another warehouse up here. You really want to try to limit how many warehouses that you are building. As long as you're making enough money, you'll be just fine having a warehouse right there. You'll be able to expand into this area here later on anyways. Now, to make sure that we have enough schnapps, I'm going to go ahead and add another distillery, and I'm going to put this right here next to the pub as well. I just like having 2 distilleries close by, right in the middle of town. They'll be able to pick up all of the potatoes that they need, and this is just honestly just a vibe for me. I like having distilleries right next to the pub, making the schnapps. We'll be able to even make beer later, and then even I like putting the apple tree orchards right here, right on next to the pub. Kind of, you know, adding a little bit of apples for what we can roleplay as a little bit of a cidery. That will also be served at the pub. Obviously, that's not a real thing in terms of like the actual game mechanic, but it's just a cute little roleplay thing we can do. And speaking of, I actually do want to go ahead and start doing something with this central aisle here. I want to go ahead and make a pretty little central park. This is going to spend quite a bit of money, so I'll be doing some quests to try to offset this later. But I do want to do this just because the amount of greenery will help us in terms of things like news, but also just like the actual playing of the game. I just really enjoy. So I'll do a kind of a little bit of a park system here. You'll see I like just doing this kind of rows of trees that are spaced out just a little bit like this. And I can even put bushes in between them. Kind of have this nice row of shrubbery. And then also to play on the idea of our apple orchard, I really like the idea of just tossing a couple of a little bit of apple orchards throughout the park here. This actually will make it so that this itself is the apple orchard, allowing our farmers to go ahead and just enjoy a little bit of time into our central park, but also being a little bit of an area to be kind of, at least in roleplay, a little bit productive. And I know a lot of people are using this road, but I like having this central park be a continuous uninterrupted park that just travels all the way from the bottom to the top, from our docking area all the way up to the marketplace. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Now, I'm not doing this just for the sake of roleplay, but actually we will be doing a lot of industrial expansion, and because we'll be adding pollution when it comes to these types of buildings, you can see vulgarity is actually being affected from the pig farms and slaughterhouse. This is a negative, but our culture from our parks is being a positive. So as long as we're adding a little bit of decorations, while we're adding things that are going to be adding pollution, we should be actually in a positive attractiveness level, and will actually help out our game, but specifically our news cycles as well. Now, to help pay for those types of things, I will start taking our ship. Oh no. Right. Okay. This is a little bit of a reminder. I forgot we failed our Bente mission, so I'll just go ahead and just deliver our bread back. And I have like a little bit of extra wood here. We actually have quite a bit of excess wood. I will be selling some of our resources, but I do want to get our stockpiles up into about 100. Looks like other players are starting to settle other islands. That's all good and dandy. We'll also start settling here soon. But I want to make sure that I'm not selling anything like under 100 of these higher resources. Our schnapps and potatoes will start growing here soon. And even just to make sure that that actually starts implementing, we'll put this back to real time. I didn't realize we were still in slow motion. But I'll take my ship, and there's actually a bunch of different things I would want to be doing here. First, I'm going to actually take a kind of a delivery of a little bit of lumber and wood, just because we're generating a ton of this. And I'll be sending this all the way up here. I do want to start doing some quests with some of the other players. Quests are a great way to be making money, but also very specifically, it will help us with reputation with some of them. Because you'll see, as you are doing quests, you'll get reputation with the different players. They'll start liking you more. More likely, they won't declare war on you. Alonzo is one of those guys we probably need to keep an eye on. He's an expert level AI. I also heard he's someone I do need to keep an eye out for. just because. So we'll be doing some of his quests, mostly for the money, but also just to make sure he doesn't do any funny business. Now, I have a lot of plans for us to do today, which will require a lot of bricks. You'll see our shipyard here requires bricks. Our steel production buildings require bricks. Our harbor buildings, our soap, our police station, the school. These all require a ton of bricks. And we have a fantastic start here with up to 3 different clay deposits. So I want to try to make the most of all of this and really increase our brick production. We do have a bunch of workers that are available to us. So the very first thing I'll do is I'll set this back to blueprint mode. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of a blueprint of a clay pit here. And Now, the workers will have to be coming from our little worker area and commuting all the way up here in order to work at this clay pit. So we might as well also just make the rest of the workers also commute and put a little bit of a brickyard factory up here. And because this clay pit can support 2 brick factories, we might as well have both of them here. And they will have to have a place to deliver, so the warehouse, of course. And you can even put a quick little bit of road between all of the items. Connect the entire thing to your main inventory, right? And that'll be fantastic. Now, this quick little upgrade here, this will actually just double our supply of bricks, which will help us really speed things along. This actually will be the beginning of what I believe can be a fantastic industrial sector. And I think we'll even have a kind of an additional market over in this area, where we'll be building a whole bunch of extra houses, upgrade those to workers. So kind of have the idea that they'll work on the iron mines, they'll work on a bunch of the additional worker buildings, but that'll be completely separate from our main part of our island, which will just keep the pollution away from like our ideal area over here, and will be a fantastic way to play the game. Because we have this other clay pit, I might as well do the same here now, because we're just gonna need so many brick. And I see we do have these moose here. Sorry guys, you will have to be moving out. But don't worry, you have this beautiful area over here, this beautiful valley, which has pretty much no reason for me to build into. So we'll probably just preserve this. Wait, to preserve? Hell yeah! All right, okay. For those Civ fans, that will be White and Nerdy's preserve right here. Gosh, I love it. Oh my goodness. But we'll have a little bit of an area for brick production. Maybe we'll decommission this later if we really feel like we want to keep this area nice and clean. But for now, for us to get our production rolling, we'll have all of this built up. Oh, yeah, there go the moose. There they go. Enjoy your sanctuary, guys. The cute little grove up here. Gosh, I love it. But yeah, that's going to triple our brick production, which is freaking fantastic. You'll see here we're making 6 tons of bricks per minute, which will be just amazing. The first thing we can actually do with those bricks that we're building is if I have a warehouse, for instance, this one, you'll see the exclamation point. There's too many people that are trying to transport. Oh my God, yeah. I have so many jobs that are trying to transport to this warehouse specifically. Yeah, we can see we have like 5 or 6. We can only have 2 people loading at the same time. You see all these carts that are just like waiting in queue. That's going to slow down our production. So what I'll do is I'll upgrade this building. That's going to cost brick, but that'll be fantastic because that will allow at least one more exporter. Now I could be adding a warehouse every time we add more buildings, but I think that'll be good for us for now. The other thing for efficiency's sake is that we can actually start looking at building these paved streets. These cost brick to build, so they are expensive, but they're actually very important. Now, not only will they increase the speed of your horses that are traveling on your roads, but they actually increase the range that certain buildings have, like your radius happiness buildings. You'll see this far house all the way at the end of this block is only getting 82% of the goods supply from the market, which means they're only getting 4 out of the possible 5 extra farmers that could fit into this house. That's because the radius of the market only stretches so far. But if we just did a quick little adjustment, adding a bit of a paved street here, this will increase the range of our markets and actually increase the supply of the market, making this a fully functional farming house, which is actually ready to be upgraded into more workers. I'll probably keep these farmers for now, but just because paved streets are just really good, I'll be adding a couple of these, even though they cost brick. That's why I wanted to focus on getting these brick factories up and running, because we'll need as many of these as possible, because I want to have as many of these streets be paved as we can. Looks like we're up here with Madame Kanina already, and she has a task for us. We have a delivery quest. Are you looking for an exciting task? I have something for you to do. One of my providers failed to load an item. I would specifically requested, I need you to come looking for it. Thrilling, right? Yeah. So we'll do that. It'll be $5,000 for her. And it looks like all we have to do is actually come up to her clipper. We're already here, so this is perfect for us. But yeah, we can go ahead. We'll pick up the little bit of cargo that she has for us. And it looks like how thrilling. Her life as a merchant is a lot simpler than it used to be. From time to time, she comes across very mundane inconveniences. still need resolving, even if they bore her to death. All right, so sounds like we're doing a very boring quest, but that involves us delivering out to a schooner. Quickly, I'll go ahead and I'll just sell this wood up to her. Now, this only provides pretty much what is the base cost of these items, but I wanted to show you what this looks like. If we're selling wood and lumber here, it's only $300. That's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it is something nice because we did have an excess. Now, again, if we are able to get up to things like potatoes and sell those, we could actually make a good amount of money. In the meantime, she wants us to go deliver to the schooner, and that's actually over by Eli's. That's actually perfect place for us to go here in a second anyways. Now, we have even more brick, so let me go ahead and build out this road, and that'll just help out with our delivery speeds. Looks like Madame Canina is even coming here and delivering more items to us, which is fantastic. We're able to hand in her quest here, which will be giving us a nice little injection of cash from doing her quest, but also she's buying lumber from us directly, which is actually just a nice little bit of a passive income. We do have a newspaper we want to try to approve, and it looks like, no, mission follow-up. All right, White and Nerdy attempts to help, it only makes things worse. The nice little reminder that we failed our test, our quest for Bente. Thanks for those that let me know. If we just, we could have just pressed pause on the production or the consumption of our bread, and that would have made it so that we could have actually just delivered on that quest much more quickly instead of fighting the workers for the bread supply. That's pretty funny. But you'll see we have a financial powerhouse buff here. We're getting a little bit of happiness. That will actually offset the negative happiness here from our screw-up. And then happiness and light. Nerdtown's quite full of mirth. We're having a good string, a good start here. I could edit this newspaper. I don't really want to do any propaganda while we're trying to get other players like Bente on our side here diplomatically. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and work with Alonso here. Destroy me, burn me, each scar the cruel, listrous blister that is a man, drown me. Oh, okay. All right, we really don't like this guy, but I do need to try to work on our reputation with him. This is also almost 10,000 coins that we could earn from him. So, Descent of a Man, Alonso wants you to destroy him. Or one of his ships, at least. Why? Well, your guess is as good as anyone's. All right, so we got to destroy a ship for him. I don't know why, but that's... Oh, that's a frigate. I don't know how strong frigates are compared to my own ship, my flagship, but it looks like it's actually real close by. Let me sail out this way. Now, our flagship is relatively a strong ship. It has what, four guns on the side here. The frigate has a lot more guns actually. So this does look concerning to try to play out, but. As long as I don't approach this frigate from the broadside where all the guns are pointed, maybe we'll be able to actually do something here. We can actually sneak up behind him, and we'll do a quick little run at him. See, hopefully we can get all of our shots out without him noticing. He actually has to spend time rotating his ship, so we got a couple of extra little volleys out before he can even fire. Oh yeah, we got this. Oh, hell yeah. Dude, absolutely nothing... No problems here. The best flagship ever. And we'll also go ahead and deliver this back over to him. I guess we destroyed his own ship. Good job, man. Easy money, though, and easy reputation. That'll be fantastic for us. And I want to try to prioritize quests with him. As soon as we get one done, we'll have to wait for another one. We are not empty-handed, Alonso. Relax.
Good dog.
Good dog? Oh my god, I hate this guy. But that will be some reputation. That should help us out. We're at 41. I wonder if we can flatter him. Medium-high chance of success. Only a medium-high chance of success for offering gifts. That's crazy. I don't really want to flatter him. I don't want him getting the wrong idea, but we will go ahead. We'll sail to another place. Actually, before I do that, I am over here next to all of these pirates. Now, it's a little bit, I think, cheesy that the pirates don't attack you unless you meet Anne Harlow directly by sailing all the way to her pirate cove. You'll see here, my ship, we can't even attack the pirates. They won't attack us either. And the fact that I set them to a high difficulty, but then they're so far away from us, means that they're barely going to be a threat. And we could actually completely avoid them if we wanted to. Just because they're not going to come all that far out here. So at the very least, what I could do is I can try to meet Anne Harlow and see what happens. get the pirates to activate. I think this is objectively not a great idea if you're trying to optimize your gameplay, but I think it'll be better for content. I'm sure I won't regret being the pirates, like, ever. I won't regret it. Surely not. So we'll say, okay, so Anne Harlow, we've met her. Dude! Oh no! She immediately starts firing cannons at us. That's fantastic. Yeah, you'll see here, this is a crazy looking cove here with a whole pirate infrastructure, tons of guns. They're building ships here in the center. They live out this way. I'm sure they have tons of rum and other things to drink. This is a crazy place to try to attack. They have guns on the outside. They have guns on the inside. They have this entire death corridor, this kill zone right in the center here, with tons of giant guns. I think we'll have to, I don't know. Did I say they have guns? Attacking her directly is not going to be an option for us for quite a while, but we'll be doing something with her at some point. Now, in the meantime, I can start working on some more things. Our brick production is actually skyrocketing. 42 brick. That's freaking fantastic. But I'll go ahead and I'll just extend our brick roads out. This will just help out a ton with all of our production needs and kind of like get this main avenue built out, including the road for the church so that the church can make all of our workers happy no matter where they're at. You'll see here our next need is actually the soap industry. The soap industry itself does require steel beams. We're going to have to build our steel industry out first. In the meantime, they actually do want a school need because we have enough workers for that. So I will very quickly... Oh, but that also requires steel beams. They also have a happiness concern for beer. Yeah, I think the next thing we really need to do is work out on this steel beam production. I will go ahead and blueprint out a little bit of our extra homes this direction. And this will be more of an extended block. This will just have a little bit of variation in terms of what our blocks will look like, because this is the over this direction will be upgraded into workers and then maybe even artisans. This allows us to have a little bit more room for decorations to play with in the center aisle, especially when it comes to different park and fountain and different decorations up here. We'll go ahead and do this quest here with Arthur. I've been receiving some critique as of late. I've taken rather to heart. I need someone to massage my ego. Are you sure? Ooh, a forester would be fantastic. Little circle adulterers like to call upon such occasions. Bring them here safely. You can hear my name spoken by glowing terms once more. It's a pickup quest, 3 reputation, get a forester, 4,000 coins. This will be a good thing for us. So let's go ahead and pick up over at some this schooner, which is over by Bente's Island. Hopefully Bente has a quest for us soon as well, so we can make up where we failed before. Now, while we're working on all of this, I'm going to upgrade a few of our farmers to get them ready. But I really want to start, and I even slow things down, because I want to figure out what we're doing in terms of this steel beams production. This is the very first workforce that gets a little bit complicated, so I'd like to walk you through it as simply as possible with multiple different stages so that we can see. Now, of course, we're going to start with the iron mine. This iron mine produces iron every 15 seconds. All you have to do is put this onto a iron resource. We'll even build out a main road here. But you'll see this will produce 1 iron every 15 seconds. Now, this needs to be combined with charcoal. Charcoal or coal. We don't have access to coal just yet. You'll see we have a coal mine, but we can't even utilize this, not until we get to artisans. But charcoal we can use just as well, and even for less workers. Of course, charcoal is going to take wood that's nearby, just like a lumberjack hut, and we'll be burning that to produce charcoal, which will be the fuel that'll be used to try to burn down some of the iron. Now, I'll be putting this in an area where I'll be able to combine this with the iron.
Something of my reflection in you.
We'll go ahead and deliver this guy as well. And then we'll take our ship. I'm actually going to use Control 1 to name our ship here. That way, anytime I press 1, I can come straight to our ship. Deliver this over here. But yeah, we'll come back to our iron supply. Iron is produced every 15 seconds, but charcoal takes 30 seconds. That means our iron mine is twice as fast as charcoal is. So for every iron mine, we're going to need 2 charcoal kilns to try to keep up with our iron production. Both of these are going to require space for the trees. So I'll just go ahead and put this right here. Get these both delivered to this main road. And these 2 items will be combined in a furnace to make steel. The furnace only takes 30 seconds. So it actually is in line with a charcoal kiln. For now, what I'm going to do is I'll just put this furnace right here, where the iron and the charcoal can then be combined. Now, this is where things get a little bit complicated. I'm going to actually go ahead and do something that could be really fun here. I'll be building a little bit of an aisle out this way. And what I like doing, because this is going to be a very high traffic area where there's going to be a lot of goods moving back and forth, I like having these doubled roads. This allows goods to travel on one road and then also on the other road, just have a lot of room for things to move around. But also at the same time, it leaves room for us to add decorations in later.
You are not without intensity.
All right, so we'll add that to Arthur's build here, his quest. And then we deliver these worshippers back to his main island. All right, back to here. Now, the furnace will be producing steel every 30 seconds. This needs to be delivered then to a steelworks. Now, this is where things get complicated for the first time. The steelworks produces steel beams every 45 seconds. So what we can do is we'll take the steelworks and we'll place it right nearby to the furnace. That way it's very easy to deliver over here. We'll even build a little bit of an extra road between these two guys. That way the furnace can then deliver steel to the steel beams, and then these steel beams can then be delivered to a warehouse, which will also be nearby. Now this warehouse will be pretty much prioritized by the brickyard, so I'll be building another warehouse nearby. And I'll even be putting a market here just so I have a little bit of... I have a plan for building out a little bit more of a city in this area. But we'll drop our last warehouse right here, just to be with all of these goods here. These buildings are quite expensive when it comes to that workforce. So I'll start by producing our iron mine, which should be 50 workers, and then our charcoal kiln, which should be another 10 workers. The furnace itself is already up to 100 workers, so we'll get that produced. But to get our furnace online, I'll need more workforce. That'll be easy because I can just upgrade some of our blocks here that we have ready, get even more workers, up to 200, and then come back over here, getting our ironworks online, as well as this last warehouse to deliver. Now, because our furnace takes 30 seconds to produce, and our steel beams take 45 seconds, this building is slower than this one. But what we can do while we only have one of these in the meantime is that we can actually increase the workforce demands on our steel. If we change this to 50%, additional 50% increase of productivity, what we can do is we can make it so that the steel only takes 30 seconds to produce now, as opposed to the previous processing time of 45 seconds. That will make these two buildings one-to-one. It doesn't increase our workforce demands, it lowers our happiness, but that'll be okay for just now. And we're gonna allow Bente to go settle a new island. I didn't see which one that was. Looks like she settled down here. I don't want to settle down here. That's just fine. That's perfect for us, actually. And let's deliver this item over to Arthur. That gives us that forester as well. Fantastic. I'm going to sail that back home immediately. And it looks like actually Arthur settled on this island down here. That's actually a bummer, but I really couldn't do anything about it. I would have needed steel beams to be able to settle this island, and some of these AI play pretty quickly. We'll see what we can do about this problem here eventually, but for now, I'm okay because what we have is a fantastic ability for us to deliver items to this furnace, and this goes to here, and then this goes over to this warehouse. Now I'm going to go ahead and I will blueprint actually out a second furnace here. You'll notice that with one iron mine producing every 15 seconds and two charcoal kiln effectively producing a charcoal every 15 seconds, you can supply up to 2 furnaces. This will be important later because we'll be working on extending out our steelworks production, but also things like weapons. I'll get to that in a little bit, but we need to actually work up on our steel production first. In the meantime, I'll actually go ahead and I'll start stretching out this avenue. Actually, I'm going to really like what we're doing here. I'll scoot this over because I want to do a double avenue and kind of have a bunch of industrial jobs surrounding some of our other jobs surrounding our jobs. We'll kind of get an idea for some roads up here, spending a little bit of money, but we're making money, so we're doing great. And then we'll be able to add a whole bunch of... Oh yeah, Bente doesn't like that we're increasing the work hours of our people, so we'll have to come back to that here shortly. But we'll be blocking out a little bit of an additional area for us to have some more homes for these workers here eventually. We can even add an additional tavern. But I'll just get these started for now. because these are things we'll be working up into later. For the meantime, what I want to do is I'll start increasing our population even more, getting even more houses built, getting our workforce ready so that we can upgrade even more farmers into more workers. Now, while we're here, we have 56 bricks. This will allow us to start building some of these additional buildings that we're lacking in. One of these will be the police station. This will be important for things like riots. The police station acts a lot like the fire station, which will tame any fires that pop up throughout time. This will actually do the same thing, but for riots. I don't really see any riots popping up anytime soon, but just for the sake of getting this built out and getting it ready, if we get to the point where we're at negative happiness, we'll be okay. We'll keep an eye, because we can keep an eye on our happiness concerns here. You see, news is nil. We're happy because there's not a lot of pollution. We're happy because there's peace. We're happy because of luxury items. We're unhappy because of the work conditions. So we'll want to address that here shortly. I'm going to use my brick road to even upgrade our avenue this direction and keep our brick deliveries going nice and fast. We even have enough brick. Oh, sweet. Our boats here. We even have enough brick to build a shipyard. 25 bricks. We have access to a bunch of ships here, but of course the first one being the schooner. This is a small trade ship. This will allow us to start sailing and trading items with other players. It costs wood. Now, the only problem is that it doesn't have any guns to defend itself. So when it comes to things like pirates, we'll be having to escort these types of ships. But for the meantime, we'll be okay. We might be able to use a flagship for that. In the meantime, I'm going to send this forester who affects all lumberjack huts. It actually increases the appeal of lumberjack huts. Oh, dude, hell yeah. Appeal? My kind of guy. So what I'll do is I'll actually scoot out some of this lumber supply, just so that I can put a trade union right on in here to try to boost some of our lumberjacks. This will allow me to scoot this lumberjack in just a touch so that I can go ahead, make sure that's still at 100% efficiency. It is. And is it within the radius of this? It should be. Now we'll even move this lumberjack over across the road. I think we need to scoot it one more tile. That way, all 3 lumberjacks should be in radius of a trade union where we can insert the specialist, the forester here. And yeah, it looks like it does affect all of our lumberjack huts here. Each of them adding a little bit of additional appeal, attractiveness to our city now. We'll start a new day here so I can actually start addressing some of our additional concerns. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot this whole system down a little bit. There's a lot more room here to build out housing if I want to do that. So I'll be moving out our pub and these homes because I'll have a bunch of possibilities later down the road. I'll even delete this so I have a little bit more I can look at. But you'll notice we started producing steel beams now. This actually allows us to produce some of these additional buildings. This includes our actually weapons supply, which is something I do want to prioritize. You'll notice here, it actually has the same exact supply chain as the actual steel beams themselves. So we don't need to build more furnaces for this. What we can actually do, we can use our same supply chain. Now you'll see it takes 90 seconds to produce a weapon, but that sounds very familiar, right? Our steel beams takes 45 seconds. Now I'm gonna go ahead and immediately reduce our increased productivity on the steel beams. That'll just give us a little bit of a head start on the production here. But what that'll do is you'll notice our furnace produces steel every 30 seconds. That means we produce 2 every minute and 3 steel every 90 seconds. Our steel beams only take 1 per 45 seconds. That means 2 steel every 90 seconds. And your weapons take 1 steel every 90 seconds. Now, what does that sound like? That sounds like we're producing 3 steel, which can then supply 2 steelworks and 1 weapons factory every 90 seconds. So 1 furnace producing 3 steel every 90 seconds can now supply all 3 of these buildings without changing worker hours at all, which creates 2 steel beams and 1 weapon every 90 seconds. Which then can be delivered to this warehouse at the end of the line. So this furnace can support all 3 of these buildings at the same time. Fantastic. Now, if I just increase my workforce, so we'll go ahead and we'll start upgrading some more of our homes down here. I can't upgrade this last guy because it's a little bit too far away from the market. But what would if we, again, just extend our brick roads out to make sure that now you have increased market supply. This last house will soon get its last farmer, and then we'll be able to be upgraded into the home that we need. Now that we have 100 workers, we can actually start producing weapons as well, which will take up to 50 workforce. Now, the last piece of this puzzle is that you'll notice our iron will be outproducing our steel. This steel producing every 30 seconds means 3 steel every 90 seconds, but our iron produces every 15 seconds, meaning you produce up to 6 iron every 90 seconds. What that means is that we'll actually be able to supply 2 different furnaces, because 6 iron will then become 6 steel every 90 seconds, which will then, in turn, support another 2 iron beams and a second weapons factory. I'll keep this all in blueprint, of course, because this will demand a lot of workforce. But we'll be able to produce all of this here in time. I'll even drop in one more warehouse down here just so we have a place to deliver some of our excess goods. And it looks like I will actually need to add a couple of brick roads just to increase the radius here. But there it is. That's the entire industrial steel and weapon pipeline. So this will be the maximum efficiency. And this is all with one iron mine. We have a second iron mine, which we'll get to it in a second. But this will actually allow us to produce even more stuff out this direction. So we'll have basically a workforce that will be expanded. And what we're going to do is actually we're just going to build out homes to the actual cliffside itself. We have a coal mine here, which will be delivered at some point, which will be blocked out at some point. But this will just have us be able to build a little bit of an additional area for us to have this huge industrial corridor at some point. Looks like Alonso actually has another quest for us. So we're going to come over here, do this for him. A ship from the east, the tea leaves say has sunk. There's powdered bone of tiger and milk of poppy aboard. That would be great services to me. That's intense, but it does have a circular saw, which will affect carpentry works and woodcutters. Most importantly, it will help our reputation with him. So let's go ahead and pick up this flotsam. So we'll do that for him. That's actually nearby, which is actually very helpful. We actually have our very first ship that's been built, this Hot Kipper schooner. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually name these boats after some of our commenters. So this will be Zoltron. Welcome in, Zoltron. You now have your very own ship and will be important for us in our first in trading to different NPCs and such. So, but before we do that, I actually want to go ahead and I want to do a little bit of sailing with and fog busting with some of these ships, just so that I know what's around us and what we have going on. Now, I'll be keeping an eye on things like our pollution, as of course we do have a pretty intense pollution starting up here. The easiest way to deal with this is we're going to start offsetting our emissions by literally planting more trees. This is why I have these little corridors here. This allows us to have these nice little fun areas. These double roads. Oops. Hang on. Made a little bit of an oopsie here. But there we are. Your relationship with Bente has improved over time. Fantastic. Oh, Arthur is... Alright, so it seems like your relationships will either improve or deteriorate over time depending on the difficulty level of the AI. So Bente just likes us just because, while Arthur is like, yeah, you're not that great. But there we are. We have a couple little extra trees here. Adding additional attractiveness to try to offset the pollution that we just added. But also, it's just a pretty little corridor for us to start building out our productive capacity. Nice, fun avenue, delivering all of these goods. So now we have iron being delivered to the furnace, which is then delivered to the steelworks, and the weapons factory, which is all then delivered to this warehouse. Fantastic. We'll work out this whole area here in a little bit, but for the meantime, what I'll do, just grab a couple more of these additional trees. This is expensive, but it should be worth it because our culture now exceeds our pollution, which should help in things like our news cycles. Fantastic. We'll come back here to our main ship. We'll grab this last flotsam and deliver the milk of poppy and powder bone of a tiger. Yikes. Okay. We also have Zoltron doing some exploring for us. Go ahead, explore each of the corners of the map. And now, let's see if our work has actually done what we wanted it to do. It looks like our relationship's sour. The diplomatic relations with Anno and Harlow have deteriorated. Well, she's the pirate. Of course she is. Okay. Anyways, that's something we're not going to be able to avoid. It is what it is. But they're happy that we built a shipyard. It's a little bit of a happiness bonus. And the Promised Land. Settlers arrive in numbers in Nerdy Town. The illustrious doors opening to reveal a shimmering utopia. But you'll notice what we didn't get was we didn't get the... Nerdy Town has let itself go. The pollution, the negative attractiveness usually gives a negative penalty in games where other games that I've played where I got to this point. I don't see it here, so I think adding those trees actually did help us out quite substantially. We'll even look at our happiness concerns here. Looks like we're happy because pollution's at 0. That's fantastic. Yeah, it actually offsets. That's huge. Our news is good, our luxury items are good, our island peace is still at peace, and working conditions is nil, so that's fantastic. We're now producing some steel beams, and we can actually start producing some of these additional workforce items that we need. The easiest one will be the school, and that's something where I'm going to prioritize because that's a nice, easy happiness or needs ability, which will affect our workforce. So we can skip out on soap and just go straight for the school. And that, of course, is going to go in a nice central location that can be placed here near the church where it's going to affect a bunch of our workers. Whether or not I put it here or I back it up, maybe we just back it up just one touch, because I can do a couple of additional things like adding a little bit of a stone road here. I can add a couple of extra decorations where the kids can play. And I even have additional trees we can play around with, like a nice elm tree we can put down. We have additional tree types.
Whenever they speak of you,
Alonzo. They speak of you sounds sad. Okay, dude. That's fantastic. And we'll add a couple of little bit of additional flowers that come down here. We'll even add, because there's a little bit of a stairwell on this side, we can just add even more road. And this does cost a lot of brick. But as soon as we get to 20 steel, which we're at 19 right now, and 25 brick, will be fantastic.
Is this for me?
That is for you. All right, Alonzo. I really don't like that we're helping you out.
Good dog.
But we gotta... Good dog! All right, I'm not doing anything for you for a little bit, dude. Holy cow. I can't believe you talk like that. But we can go ahead, we can kill some pirates. We can grab their flotsam. And there's even... Oh, what's this? Anne's gramophone. Oh, that's an item we can just sell. That's not bad. I don't know why the pirates had that, but we'll hunt down this other pirate ship, and we'll be able to sell some items here to some of the other Emporium. Some of the other NPCs. Get them. Yeah, this actually will help us, you know, kind of just show a little bit of strength too, maybe. I'm not a pushover. Look at that. Take out the pirates. Grab the flotsam. Fantastic. We're sailing into the wind here too. Actually, the wind you can see right down here. The direction it's moving, so we're a little bit slow. But now that we're here and we have the 25 brick, we have the 22 steel beams, we can go ahead and immediately build out the school. And that, my friends, will make our relationships our workers very, very needed. I guess our industry, all the jobs that are being required are getting more complicated, so we need an actual education for it. Keep an eye on our consumer goods, a fish supply, schnapps, clothing. Man, all of our demands are increasing very rapidly. But what I'll do is I'll go over to the other end of our island, and we'll build a little bit of a fishery out this direction, delivering a little more fish over to this market, essentially. Hey, Sir Archibald Blake. Zoltron has gone ahead, and he met Sir Archibald Blake. This, of course, is the representative of the Queen. He has this beautiful freaking mountaintop manor, but he can actually sell us a bunch of different items, whether that is steel, like a production item, steel, wood, brick, even up to sewing machines. And we can actually sell him coal if we start overproducing coal. We are, so because I'm going to trade that over to him will be fantastic. And then we can even sell us additional items, but even boats here later on, which would be really, really cool for us. We're going to continue to travel up to this northern end of the mountain, and then my flagship will come over here. And we'll send... We even picked up some additional weapons. That'll be nice for us to escort some boats. I'm going to go ahead and build another schooner. That, of course, will demand some workforce from us, but that'll be fantastic. Now, one of the last things I want to do is really kind of set up our final additional aisle. And I really like what we're doing when it comes to the, like, avenue system that we have up here. So I kind of want to play around with that. Oh, wait, hang on. Before I forget, I need to deal with this schnapps supply and clothing. So what we'll do is we'll probably just produce a little bit of a satellite production area when it comes to clothing and schnapps. Let me go ahead and grab a couple of workers here, and then we'll just produce even more things up here. Oh, before I forget, I need to make sure that I have a fire station up here, close by to all of the things that could potentially blow up. We'll put another blueprint one up this way for the actual residential area. And then I'm going to grab just a quick copy of some of our clothing. There we are. We have the sheep here, right here next to the brickyards. This, I'll figure out what to do when it comes to... We might space out some of these homes just a little bit for the sake of aesthetics. But in the meantime, what I'll do... We'll put a distillery here, as well as some potato farms. We'll start a new day, too.
Ship constructed.
All right, and we'll go ahead and put down a... This doesn't have to be final, but I'll just be placing a quick little potato farm in this area. Just to increase our potato production, our clothing. Have a distillery here, have our market here. We'll actually build out some of these houses in the tavern. And because that's going to require an increased workforce, we'll just get this entire area built up. Fantastic. Oh, there's another fire over here, so let's go ahead and mobilize. I don't want that to become a problem. I'm going to go ahead and sell this item. Looks like we get a little bit of additional money from this, just 25. We could even sell these weapons for a little bit of extra cash, which might be nice for us. And instead of delivering that home, I'll produce my own. And let's come on home. We have one more ship here, so we'll go ahead and name this guy Wolfman. Thanks to you for those that have been commenting. If you could leave a comment on the YouTube video, I'll be sure to name a ship after you. Top comment gets an island whenever I can have those available. Looks like this guy actually made a bunch of stuff up here. Let's sail over here, and then we'll set up our trade routes here in the next episode. Oh, I really have an income problem. But none of our goods are really that negative in terms of production. We just want to try to increase our income. So we need to keep doing the quests with some of these NPCs to continue to make money. We have a negative deficit right now. She has an escort quest, so I'll probably be sending my flagship up there shortly. Let me say yes to that.
My psychiatrist once tried.
Arthur also has an escort quest, but we can't do two of those at the same time without more gunboats. She has a delivery quest, so she wants some items.
Until you prove yourself innocent.
Eli Bleakworth is offering a quest, a pickup quest, and this actually will give us an item that can be equipped on our ships to increase their movement when they're trading. So I'll be taking our buddy Zoltron here and trying to do that quest for him. He has a couple of castaways up here. Now, there are pirates nearby, so I do have to be careful. We'll go ahead and take our flagship. We'll deliver this item. And we'll come back to it later. I'll actually go ahead and escort my own boat. But I need to remember to actually help out the her as well. Now, I'm going to be doing some more fun stuff when it comes to... I really like this avenue that we have set up here for an industrial sector. I kind of want to do something similar when it comes to like our grand main avenue up this way that's going to go across the island. It actually will help us scoot this over too. So one of the last things I want to do this episode is really just to kind of define what we're doing. And I'm going to build out a road this direction. This will cost some money, but that is a-okay. We'll refund a little bit of it by getting this road. And I'm going to scoot this market. This is mainly just for alignment, just so I know where this is going to end up. We'll eventually have something very fun over here, where we're going to have some more of the double walkway avenues set up. And I really like blocking out this whole system. That's only $300 to do that. I apparently have ruins in my cities. So let's go ahead and build out this road here. And this will kind of give us an idea of what our city is going to end up looking like. We'll have even more blocks out this way, right? So we can go ahead and duplicate this over. which will then build out even more houses into the side. Apparently, I have a ruin over here. Oh, I didn't build that road out. Okay, fantastic.
The fire left ruins behind.
We even had issues with fires up this way, so let's get our potatoes back online. I might need more fire stations to be able to cover more of this area. We'll figure that out here in a second, but I'll basically be blocking out a little bit of where we'll be building out our blocks. Blocking out our blocks. Amazing, amazing stuff, nerdy. But this will be eventually be a fantastic avenue that leads all the way up here. I just want to complete a couple of our last things. This guy might actually end up being okay to grab these. So I'll send my flagship over to do the escort quest. Our boat over here, Wolfman's going to keep doing a little bit of additional exploring. There might be like one last island here to discover. Yeah, there's one last island to discover. So we're going to come up here, discover it. And the last thing for us to do is actually our soap industry. So now that we have the steel beams involved, we have plenty for us to expand. Soap factory is going to be something that's going to be very, very big for us, especially when it comes to selling to the prison system. I want to try to set up these in an area that makes sense. But as I was talking about before, I wanted to have our soap industry kind of over here, next to this warehouse. I could do it up here, actually. I'm going to need more bread, won't I? I'll definitely need more bread soon, so I need to leave this area open. Oh, shoot. All right, yep. No! No! Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Pirates found you. Pirates found you. Oh, no. I don't think anyone's going to save him. Rip to Zoltron. But the problem with these schooners is that these gunboats are just as fast, but they'll continue to shoot them the entire time. And even though I'm sailing over to Madame Canina right now, I don't think she's actually going to save us. Maybe if I sail over to Alonso's port, that's really the only thing that I could see happening. That'd help us. Maybe if we sail directly with the wind, it will be okay. The problem is that they'll have wind as well. Maybe that turn was enough. Oh no. Oh no, I'm so sorry. So tragic. We're never gonna make it in time. I'm sure I won't regret being the pirates, like, ever. I won't regret it. Surely not. Maybe these guns will save him. Please, Alonso, have a heart. Save Zoltron. Please. Please. You have all these. You have 2 fire guns. Help out. Alonso, no. No shot. You're gonna let him sink me in your harbor? Oh, no.
And we'll scuttle more yet.
All right. I don't know. We hate Anne Harlow, but I think I hate Alonso even more. That is a nightmare. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to end today's episode. Everyone comment down below, RIP to Zoltron. The next episode is going to involve having a soap industry, but then even more importantly, beer, which of course is going to involve Ulatopia, getting this island fully built out and being a fantastic beer island. Thanks for those that have joined me today. Leave down a comment below if you want a ship named after you, preferably one that isn't going to sink. Oh man, I hope Wolfman's okay. All you have to do is find this island and come home. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe and then come by, follow me on Twitch for more casual live streams. Remember, we will have a video about Anno 117 coming out this Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you turn on YouTube. Until next time, later, nerds.